Hey yo, what is up? I played a couple more games in the Udarniy, one firing, you know, premium shells exclusively, and the other one firing stock shells, which are APCR. Both are tier 9 games, and I wanted to just share with you so that you have a little bit of comparison or a little bit of insight into how this tank is performing. But this video is actually me talking about another tank, which is the identical tank to this one, the ob259. Now the reason why I want to do that is because the holiday seasons are upon us, and it looks like the 259A and the Udarniy might be coming out together in your region maybe, and then you might be able to select one of these tanks if you wanted to buy them either individually, or maybe they could appear in loot boxes. I don't know how they're going to be presented, but I wanted you guys to have a little bit of comparison to what you can see here in the Udarniy and what you can expect in the 259A. As you can see, I've highlighted the 259A stats in orange, so you can make a comparison for yourself what it's going to be like compared to the Udarniy. Now in this game, tier 9 game, I am shooting a couple of tier 9 tanks with premium heat shells, which this tank does 390 damage per shot with 221 penetration. If you look at the 259A that isn't released yet, it has 233 standard penetration with 420 alpha. So the alpha is almost the same as a defender. Defender, of course, 440 alpha, but you can see the difference between the Udarniy and the 259A, even though it looks the same, but it's going to be completely different stats. 150 less hit points than a Udarniy. The power to weight ratio though is 15, which is higher than a Udarniy, which means you're gonna get a little bit more mobility, a little bit more speed. Maybe you don't need to run turbo if you didn't want to. Also, you get a top speed of 60 kilometers an hour and 20 in reverse. The rotation speed of the tank as well increased. Instead of 28 in the Udarniy, you get 31.29. Nice shot there from the T32. He was expecting me and he hit me right at my weak spot, right in the center of my pipe nose. Now that is the mistake there, firing heat shells all the time. Instead of penning the T32, I just tracked him, because that's what happens when you fire heat shells. Sometimes when you shoot the tracks, instead of getting a tracking shot and a damage included, you only get a tracking shot. You do not get the damage hit points like you normally would if you were firing AP or APCR shells. That is a little bit of a disadvantage when you are firing heat shells or premium shells all the time. But you can see, even though the 259A or the coming soon to be 259A is going to look, exterior wise, it's going to look exactly like the Udarniy, but you can see so many of the stats are very different. The reload time is nearly 3 seconds slower than the Udarniy, but you get 420 alpha, you get higher penetration, and you get a lot more accuracy. In the 259A, you get 0.36 dispersion. In the Udarniy, 0.40 dispersion. Now, the Udarniy accuracy is a lot better than the Defender 252, but imagine a 0.36 dispersion on the 259A. It is a lot of difference. Also take into account the moving dispersion. On the Udarniy, it's 0.24, just like a Defender. That means the accuracy while it's on the move, it's going to be 0.24, but in the Udarniy, 0.19. This is medium tank territory. You can expect the Udarniy to have much. You can feel the difference in the gun handling in the 259A. The aim time as well slightly improved, but just a hair better than the Udarniy, 2.68 seconds. But shell velocity, you are going to get 1400 meters per second shell velocity in the standard APCR shells, which is a lot faster than the Udarniy. And remember, you are getting that really high penetration of 233 on standard penetration with the APCR shells. This is why I wanted to make this video, just to make sure that those guys out there that are looking at the Udarniy as a viable option, or as one of the tanks that you might want to pick up sometime soon, or as soon as it arrives on sale or in loot boxes or in some event or something like that, keep it at the back of your mind that there is a 259A coming out, and you, depending on how you like playing your tanks and how you like the performance of your tanks, you might consider the 259A better than the Udarniy. Now, straight up, the Udarniy is a better tank than the Object 252U or Defender, in my opinion anyway. It is overall, the gun, of course the Defender has 440 alpha, a lot better than a 390 alpha, but overall, when you put it all together with mobility, accuracy, armor, the Udarniy has a lot more armor than a Defender. So overall, I think it just edges the Defender. But think about it this way, the new 259A is going to have armor almost like a Defender. I can't believe that Defender actually hit me in the cupola twice and managed to hit me. I still managed to get 3600 damage, so it wasn't that bad. It was a good game for me, and I was quite pissed off with my own teammates. T32C, a CC and the T28 here, all three of them full HP. They should have been a lot more aggressive, but I can't blame them. I just got to play my own game and blame myself for not surviving right to the end of the game and get maybe just a little bit more damage out of that game. I could have done a little bit better. But let's move on to the next game, and this one is in Ensk. And this time I am going to fire just a standard shells, which is APCR with 221 penetration. Like I was saying, this compared to a 259A, a 259A is going to have 233 penetration. You almost do not need to fire premium shells at all if you ever get a 259A. What I'm going to do is try to be as aggressive as possible and push down the 7-8 line and try to be make myself useful here. I make the same mistake as I did in the first game, which is I double up on a tank behind me. I am following behind the Type 59 here, and I am actually sitting behind him, which is not a good position for me to be in, because I don't know if this player is going to back up or is going to go forward, and I don't know if I can get any cover or get any safety, and because of that I've taken 2 shots of damage here, one from the T55A for 350 damage, and then the Rebel Orise, and then now the TNH got 1 shot of damage from me as well, and that just leaves me with 400 plus hit points left in my tank, and this is not a good situation for me, but nevertheless I will try to make the best out of it. You see this, my gun pointing to the sky as soon as I shift into first person view. This happens a lot. I don't know why in 2022 we still can't have this fixed. Now you see me pointing my reticle at the enemy, but as soon as I hit the shift key into first person view or aim down the gun view, my gun starts pointing to the sky, and that's because in third person my gun is actually pointing at the building in front of me and it's pointing up. So when I hit the shift key to get into first person view or aim down ADS, aim down sight view, my gun is actually pointing up to the sky when I meant to be pointing it at the M41A Rebel Orise. This is a bug that has been in the game forever. I don't know why they can't code this in. I don't know why they can't have some kind of artificial intelligence to know that I am actually pointing my reticle at the tank further away from me, and when I aim down sight I want I want my reticle to be pointing at the tank and not pointing to the sky. You know what I mean? I don't know why it's been forever. They still have not been able to figure this out yet. I don't know how many of you players actually use the shift key to toggle from third person to first person view, but I use it a lot. I don't use the scroll wheel to get from third person to ADS, and I suppose if I use the scroll wheel, this would eliminate that problem of my gun pointing up into the sky when I hit the shift key or when I scroll into ADS. But tell me what you think. Do you guys go through this problem as well, especially when you're playing in city maps, when you're behind buildings and you poke out to try to get a snapshot? You want to quickly shift and go in and out, but if your gun is pointing into that building in front of you and then you poke out and hit the shift key, you find your gun pointing into the sky. But enough about that. I have managed to got 1500 damage so far. Not particularly great, but I am pushing forward. I don't have any more hit points. I am a one-shotter, and I just need to be a little bit careful going forward. I know I want to get more damage, but I still want to try to survive towards the end of the game so I can get a little bit more damage before the game is ended. You can see there are still 4, 5, 6 more tanks available to shoot at. If I play my cards right, I could get a little bit more damage. Try to shoot this guy crossing in the T10. I nailed him and tracked him, but I didn't finish him off. There's a Type 59 to my left, and I'm going to try and see if I can finish him off or get a little bit more damage. Land one shot on him and he manages to pen me on my upper plate with APCR shells. I managed to bounce the second shot also with the upper plate, almost the same spot. I managed to bounce that one, and the TNH also shoots the upper plate, but I managed to bounce that. So you get a little bit of trollish armor with the Udarniy. Very interesting. Would you consider getting the Udarniy or the 259A? In my opinion, if I had these two choices in front of me, I would probably pick the 259A just because I feel like I would prefer a better mobility tank with better accuracy and slightly less armor. The armor almost a little bit worse than a 252 a Defender. I don't mind dealing with that. But anyway, both these games doing about 60,000 plus 70,000 plus credits. I hope you enjoyed this video and took some useful information on the comparison for these two tanks, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.